You've heard the promise, right? Make money while you sleep. But what if that whole dream of passive income you're being sold is actually, well, a bit of a nightmare? Today, we're going to tear down the myths and give you a real, practical roadmap to financial freedom, all based on a really powerful framework. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration. The internet is just flooded with gurus trying to sell you on ideas that are not passive income at all. They're just high-stress second jobs that rob you of your sleep. This quote right here, it gets right to the heart of the problem. And we're going to fix that. So let's start at the absolute bottom of the barrel, with the ideas that cause the most damage. These are what we're calling the F-tier assets, the fake passive income schemes that you need to run away from, fast. And the king of this category, oh yeah, it's dropshipping. I mean, the promise is so seductive, isn't it? A money-printing machine with zero startup cost. But the reality? It's not investing, it's just high-stress retail in a brutal, super crowded market. You're not building an asset, you're just waking up every single morning to fight a war, hoping your ad account didn't get shut down. Now, this is the math the gurus just conveniently forget to show you. They love to show you revenue, but never the profit. So you sell something for $50, great. But after you pay for the item itself, and this is the big one, after you pay for the ads to get that customer, your $30 profit just shriveled down to $5. Then you factor in fees and returns, and suddenly you're left with a tiny 5% margin. That's not passive income. That is a high-anxiety, low-paying job. And if you think dropshipping is a gamble, let's talk about crypto yield farming for a second. These schemes promise these insane returns, but it's often just a dilution machine. See, they pay you in a token that they are constantly creating more of. So you're getting more coins, sure, but each coin is worth less and less over time. It's not income, it's just gambling dressed up to look like investing. Okay, so we've tossed out the garbage. Now, how do we figure out what actually works? For that, we need a simple but absolutely ruthless framework. And this is it, the coma test. It is the ultimate no-nonsense test for passivity. If the money stops flowing the second you stop working on it, it fails the test. Simple as that. Dropshipping fails in like 48 hours. A simple savings account passes with flying colors. This right here is our North Star. So we judge everything on two main things. First, that passivity score. Does it pass our coma test? And second, the barrier to entry. How much money, skill, and just sheer pain does it take to get that first dollar? Understanding this trade-off is absolutely key to picking the right strategy for you. All right, with our new framework ready to go, let's start climbing the ladder. We're now getting into assets that can genuinely make you wealthy. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive catch. These are not passive investments. Not yet. They are active businesses you build to generate cash. Now, B-tier assets like a YouTube channel or a niche blog, these things are incredibly powerful. But calling them passive, especially when you're starting out, it's a joke. It's a full-on, high-skill profession where you have to be a writer, an editor, a marketer, the whole shebang. The point is, you're not just buying a little asset, you're signing up for a brand new career. It's a fantastic way to make money, but you gotta keep feeding the beast. Now for the A tier. Let's talk about the holy grail for so many people, owning rental properties. So you buy a place, right? The mortgage is, say, $1,500 a month, and you rent it out for $2,000. You're thinking, sweet, I'm making a cool $500 a month. Passive income, right? Wrong. This slide brilliantly illustrates what's called the friction tax. That $500 is what we call phantom cash flow. It's a mirage. Once you account for just 1 month of vacancy a year, a budget for repairs, and maybe a fee for someone to manage the property, your profit is just gone. In this very common scenario, you're actually losing $66 a month. It's a great way to build wealth over decades, for sure, but on a day-to-day basis, it is absolutely not a passive gig. So after all that work, all that grinding, where do you put the money you've generated? Well, we have finally arrived. Welcome to the S tier. This is the end game. And here's the beautiful, totally backward paradox of S-tier assets. They are the only assets where your laziness is actually a competitive advantage. They pass the coma test with flying colors because, honestly, the less you fiddle with them, the better they compound over time. So what does this look like in practice? It's beautifully simple. A portfolio of things like broad market ETFs, that's exchange-traded funds, basically a big basket holding tiny pieces of thousands of companies. You might have some dividend ETFs that just mail you a check every quarter. And finally, real estate investment trusts, or REITs. This is how you get to that true effortless income. And yeah, let's be really clear about REITs. They are the S-tier answer to owning real estate. You're buying shares in massive companies that own shopping malls, data centers, apartment buildings, you name it. You get your slice of all those rent checks in the form of dividends, but you never, ever get a 2 a.m. phone call about a broken toilet. It's all the upside of being a landlord with none of the headaches. Okay, so we have our tier list, we know what junk to avoid, and we know what the end goal is. But how do you actually put it all together? Well, here is the meta strategy.
You don't just jump straight to S tier. You probably don't have the capital for that. You start in the B tier. You build that active business, that side hustle, and you grind it out. Then, and this is the most important part, you take every extra dollar of that high effort active income and you funnel it into your boring, stable S tier assets. You're using your time to buy assets, and eventually those assets will buy back your time. That is the path.
See, true freedom isn't about finding some secret hack. It's about building an active engine to systematically buy your freedom with S-tier assets. So the goal is to move your effort from active work over to passive ownership. Looking at this framework, where are you on that journey right now?